Originally, this certification was an add-on to the Certified Ethical Hacker. And it's called the Certified Hacking Forensics Investigator. So what we're looking at in a lot of cases is people storing data on the machine that they don't want us to see. And in those cases, how do they insert that data and make it readily accessible for them? So the problem that we run into is that they want to hide something in plain sight from us. They've attacked our machine. They want to store things there. Now, they can store them in the Slack space, and we've already talked about that. But what steganography does is it stores data in the Slack space of a formatted file. It looks for those holes in it and says, oh, I can shove stuff in there. We use steganography because we want to communicate in the presence of adversaries, and we do not want them to know that we are communicating about what we are communicating. For instance, you and I have them listening to us, and we don't want them to know what we're talking about. So what we could do is we could send signals to each other, but they would see that we're signaling. So we want to make it look natural. So what we do is, when I rub my chin, it means the coast is clear. See, that looks normal. We don't want them to interpret our signals as signals. Okay, so how do we do that in the digital world? Well, what we do is we embed the message down inside of some other file that seems innocuous. I tell you what, I know that you and I are both cat lovers, but they don't mind if I browse the cat lover site and you browse the cat lover site and post our pictures of our cats up there. So what we do is we take pictures of a cat and we embed our message in there where they can't see it. And then I say, take a look at my new picture of my new cat, and I post it. They don't know that you're reading it. They may send signals there, and they may listen to what your conversation is, but they look at it and you go, oh, they're just looking at cats. It's no big deal. When in reality, when you take and download that picture to your local workstation, because by viewing it, you're downloading it, you could pull out that embedded message. From a hacking standpoint, people want to put stuff on our machines that we don't find. From a not hacking standpoint, but from an adversarial standpoint, if I'm working within this company and I want to exfiltrate data that is in this company, say it's the super secret plans for the cool new thing, instead of emailing them to you, I'm going to get caught because there are plenty of data loss prevention tools out there that are going to look for that signature of that information of the file and the name of the file or the contents of the file, and they're going to go, you're not allowed to do that. But if I take that file and embed it inside of a lot of pictures of cats, and then I post it, well, the acceptable use policy of our organization says that I can watch funny videos during lunch. That's perfectly acceptable. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm watching funny videos and I'm posting funny videos to the website out there. That's acceptable, and then that would be undetected at that point. Then you could download that file later at your convenience because you're not being listened to. Only I am. I'm being watched on this side for data loss prevention. You're not being listened to. You can download it and you know that, hey, to descramble and pull out this message, you need to key in this particular password or this particular sequence or use this particular tool, and there will pop out the super secret plans for the cool new thing. We can carry this to the next level. If you and I, and this is depending on what side of the equation you're on, if you and I are freedom fighters, some people would say those people are terrorists. If you and I are freedom fighters and you want to give me the plans for the revolution, we don't want the others hearing about the plans for the revolution. So you're going to send me a signal that I know these are the plans for the revolution in the cat pictures. And then I pull down the cat pictures and I review them. So if you're on one side of this equation, you're a freedom fighter. Or if you're on the other side of the equation, you're a terrorist. So it depends on how you're looking at it. Now, there is some activity, such as CP, which is totally inappropriate for anyone to have those particular images. So therefore, steganography is kind of the minimum standard to protect our ability to do that inappropriate activity. Now let's dig into steganography. We're going to talk about its uses, techniques, image file formats. We're going to have to dig into images themselves. And when we talk about images here, we're not talking about the contents of a hard drive. We're talking about a picture image. We're going to locate and recover image files, figure out how to identify those unknown formats, and then we're going to do detection at the very end of this, which is called steganalysis, and talk about steganography detection tools. This, as far as your exam is concerned, is a big deal for the EC Council, but from a forensics investigator standpoint, we don't have a lot of time to do a lot of the things that they're discussing in here. We've got much more overt evidence to work with, and we focus most of our attention there. Or it's deleted and we're bringing it back. We're resurrecting that file from a deleted portion, digging into the info2 or digging into the recycle bin. So we usually focus on capturing that information, not digging inside of a file. But there will come a day in forensics where we're going to have to do this on a regular basis. Okay, so what is steganography? We're going to embed a message within a carrier medium. I'm going to send you the signals through a file that you and I only know about. Now what happens is most of the time in modern steganography we usually use images, and we replace the useless bits, the ones that nobody cares about or nobody would detect in that message, and we replace them with our message. Now steganography is not cryptography. Most steganography tools today have cryptography built into them, but it is not the same. Steganography replaces those unused bits of data in various media that goes undetected as a message being sent. Cryptography says, I know you're listening, I'm going to accept that you're listening, and I'm going to let you know that I'm communicating, and I'm going to encrypt it so there's no way you can figure out what I said. I don't care that you know. And in steganography we say, I care that you know about this kind of communication. There are all different types of steganography classifications. The ones that we want to pay the most attention to, that we actually care about, are least significant bit, LSB, and then things like invisible ink and microdots, because invisible ink is very easy to understand. There is spread spectrum encoding, perceptual masking, file generation, and statistical methods that are out there for steganography classifications. That is a big part of what we do. And we're going to dig into particular steganography types in just a moment.